Tom Cosm here. Today I'm going to make a video about this thing that I want to build for my live sets, which is kind of a big set of tracks that route all to each other and can kind of glitch up anything you send to them, kind of drums or anything like that. They do it with a random manner, but it's still got a bit of structure. It's kind of so I can have something playing and it's constantly changing a little bit. Yeah, so, and I'm going to build this from scratch. I've got the idea in my head, but I thought I'd make this video and talk along while I'm actually building it. So we may get lost. I think it's going to get pretty complicated, but hopefully it's sticking there. It should be, the final project should be a pretty cool little thing. So I've just opened up a new live set here. This is a brand new set. We've got an audio track and a MIDI track. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to name this MIDI track Drum Beat, and I'm going to load in an impulse. So we can put in a drum pattern. Now the impulse is a sampler in Ableton which has 8 slots where you can load 8 different samples. So if I go over to my sample directory, let's first find a kick drum that we like. Let's go with that one, kick 10. I'm going to drag that into the first slot. Let's find a snare. It's going to be a very simple kind of beat. Let's go down to there. That'll do. So I'm loading in a, whoops, I've accidentally dragged that into a new audio track, Control Z, drag that snare into a new slot here, and let's find some hi-hats. So let's just, that'll do, that one there, and then we'll get an open one. Let's just try that one for now. So now I've got 4 samples loaded up, so I can just double click, create a new MIDI clip, and now I can program a beat. So let's just put in a kick, or let's just hit play so we can start playing it. It sounds good. Let's put the BPM at 145. I'm going to make it kind of a dubstep beat, sort of. And I'm going to make the length of the clip 2 bars long instead of 1. And we'll put another kick drum here. 1, 2, 3. Put the snares on the halfway through the bars. So we've got this. Pretty easy. Let's put some of these closed hi-hats in. Just double clicking on slots here. Very simple to start with. I'm just going to select all of these, hold down Alt, and drag them across. So we've got a pattern like this. That's pretty simple. Let's just chuck in a quick couple of little filly ones here, just so we've got kind of a. And I'm just going to Control or Command 1 here to make the grid smaller. I'm just going to put in a little roll like that. Very cool. Now what we can do is we can select all of these notes, and by moving them down we can bring them all down, or we can select them all, we can hold down the Control key and we can draw a ramp. So that just means that little roll is going to, I'm changing the amplitude or the volume level of that little roll. So I'm going to change the volume of a few of these things here. I'm just going to bring these ones down a little bit. That was the kick drum. You can also hold down the Command or Control key and click on the note and drag it down. That sounds pretty good. And then we'll just put that open hat in. Maybe put this one up to that open hat. Very cool. So I've got a drum beat. You can see it's peaking tremendously here, so I'm just going to bring the volume level down. So there we go. That's a simple drum beat. I'll just name that clip to Drum 1. Now we're going to start getting into the routing part. So I'm going to delete this audio track. I'm just going to, well, insert a new one. I could have just dragged it across. I'm going to call this, let's call this route. Okay, so what we need to do now is we need to send the output of this MIDI track into this route track. So if we go down, you can see down here on the audio too, if it's not up there, there's your little in and out button over here, you can bring it up. We can send the audio to that new route track. So the audio is now going out of this into the route track, and we just need to turn monitor in. So you can see now, if I was to mute this, we'd get nothing, because no audio, this is not going out the master anymore, it's going to this routing track. That's very cool. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create another track, and we'll call this, what do we call this? We'll call this sends. So what's going to happen now is I'm going to again put the audio to the sends track, so it's going down and out into this one, then down and out into this one. The reason I do that is I'm going to use this track with follow actions to send the actual audio to different places. I'm not going to do it on this one because we want to be able to route some other stuff later into the routing one. So this one's always just clean. It's just sitting there ready to receive audio from some other tracks. If we go over to the sends one, however, this is where we're going to start doing things. So let's just... Very cool. So of course I've called it sends. That's because I want to have some send return tracks. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to we'll create 2 more. So we have 4 return tracks. Now remember, return tracks are tracks that kind of sit off to the side next to the master. They just sit there waiting for something to be sent to them. You can't have clips or anything on them, but you can load up effects, audio effects, and that sort of thing. Coffee. And yeah, so I've set up 4 of these. Now you'll notice when I've set up those 4, we've now got 4 send options here. So if I was to bring up the volume of one of these, you'll notice one of these sends tracks will receive it. So there's A if I do B, and etc, etc. Now this is handy because now what we can do is by automating this, and the volume control of the actual track, we can send the audio to one of these 4 things or to the master out. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to name these first. Let's call this FX1, we'll call this FX2, FX3, and FX4. Very cool. So now we're going to get into dummy clips. We're going to use dummy clips here to automate sending the audio to one of these tracks. So I'm going to do that by, I'm going to stop this clip here, and I'm going to record. And I'm just going to record a 1-bar loop here, and it's going to be completely silent, and you'll see why in a second. So that was a 2-bar loop, but that'll do. So now I have this completely blank new audio track. Now there's nothing here, there's no audio in this track. That's perfect, that's what I want. Because we're actually sending the audio to this track as well, notice the output is going to the sends channel, you'll see how this one is kind of doesn't have any color to it. That means no matter what happens, this is not going to play any audio because it's overridden by this track. So I'm just going to, we'll stop that playing. I'm just going to rename this to, I'm going to call this, we'll just call it 1 for now. Now I've got this clip, I can duplicate it as many times as I want. Copying it down, just holding down the Alt key there. So now we have these tracks. Now what we can do with these tracks, even though they don't play audio, we can actually use them, double click on them, go into our envelopes mode over here, and we can automate parameters of this particular track, specifically send A, B, C, D, and the master volume. Now I'm going to call this one, let's just call this master, and I'll show you what we're going to do here. So if I go master, if I click on this volume, you'll see that this drop down menu here changes the track volume. That means we're now automating the track volume. So if I just double click 100%, just make sure there's a point there. That means whenever this is playing, that volume, the volume of the track is going to be at 100% of whatever that slider is set at, which is at the level that we want. Okay, that's all good, but what we can also do is we can go into the sends. Let's go to send A. You'll notice once I click on it, this changes to send A. You can use the drop down menu if you want, but it's much easier to click. So now what I can do is double click and I can bring this down to 0%. I can do the same with send B, C, and D, like so. So one thing you do have to remember though is this line, this modulation line, because it's a percentage, it's relative to what the actual setting is of the original parameter. So if I was to, what I need to do is I need to bring these all to their full volume, right? So what happens now is when I hit this master clip, it's going to turn the volume to 0% on all the sends of what they're currently set at, which is its maximum value, but it's going to leave the master up. So let's play that. So you can see the sends are completely up, but you'll notice there's no orange anymore. That means nothing's getting sent to them. So if I was to play this drum beat now, that's just going straight out the master. That's cool. Now let's move on to these ones here. We've done that. Actually, I'm going to delete these ones and I'm going to copy the master one just because I've put the automation lines in it. I'm going to copy it down to one below. Let's call this one send A. Very cool. So if I double click on this one, what we can do is we can find that send A, or remember we can just click on it. Now let's bring that up to 100%, but let's go to the master and bring that down to 0%. Now look what happens when I play this one. Okay, we need to put the sends onto pre. Let's play that again. So now by clicking between these two clips, I can send it to the master output, or I can have it sent to send A. It's going out the master. Now we're going out send A. So what you can imagine here, I'll do this as quickly as I can. I'm going to duplicate that send A clip down like that. We'll rename it to send B, and I double click this, we'll go into our A, we want that to be at 0%, and we want this one, send B, to be at 100, so now when we play this, it's going to go to send B. I'm going to do the same for send C, so let's just rename this to send C, bring the B down to 0, bring the C up to 100, and we'll do it one more time for send D. This will all make sense in a minute. Send F. Good one, Tom. Could have another sip of coffee, I think. Alrighty, so let's open up send D. So we want to bring this down, which is send C to 0%, and we want to bring D up to 100%. Fantastic. So now we've got send A, send B, send C, and send D. Alright, we're getting somewhere. Now, what the cool thing about this is with dummy clips, these are called dummy clips, you can actually use follow actions on dummy clips, which is a really neat thing. So if I was to select all these, just quickly, follow actions are a little set of instructions that tell a clip what to do once it's finished playing. You know, play the next one, or repeat the clip, or wait 16 bars and play the next one. So I'm going to select all of these and give them the same follow action. We can go down to this little launch box here, and you'll see we've got our follow actions here. So this area defines what happens. This is how long it takes to do something, and then this little drop down defines what happens. So if I go, let's go after 2 bars, I want all of these clips to play the next one. So once I play send A, it'll play send B after 2 bars, then send C, then send D, and it'll go back to send A. So if you've got gaps in between groups of clips, that's when it defines a group or a cluster. So let's play that. So you get the idea. So this is just going to keep cycling through. Now that's really cool. That's kind of what we want. So just for now, I'm going to keep this very, very structured. We're not going to use any randomness yet. But what we can do is let's create now. I'm going to group these together just for ease. We'll call this the route section, and I'll give it a color. Ooh, what should we go? We'll go for a blue. So that's very good. Now I'm going to create a new audio track over here, and I'm going to call this FX1, just like I did with the send. I'm going to create another 4. Guess what I'm going to call them? Exactly. So as with the routing of the audio tracks, you'll notice the return tracks actually have an audio 2 field as well. Now this is handy because we can now route FX1 to FX1, FX2 to FX2, FX3 to FX3, and FX4 to FX4. So now instead of the send going out to the master, it's actually going to feed the audio signal back into another audio track. Again, you might be wondering why I'm doing this, but I'll show you in a minute. It's just adding a real interesting layer of complication to it. So again, we'll have to put these on monitor in just to say play the signal that they're receiving. Now let's play this again. So this is great. Now we've got 4 audio tracks that we can load up heaps of new effects. And the reason I haven't loaded up the effects on here is because I want to use dummy clips again in these tracks. So for example, on this FX1, let's load in we'll load in something a bit weird. What can we use? We'll use a beat repeat. Beat repeat's always fun. So a beat repeat will take the sound and stutter it over and over and over. So we're going to use this to kind of glitch up the glitch up that drum. So down on the interval, this is as it says over here. The interval determines how often beat repeat captures new material and begins repeating it. So if this is set on 1 bar, every bar it's going to capture something new. So let's just see how that sounds now. What I'm going to do is just close down these ins and outs. I'm going to bring B, C, and D down just 1 notch, so I can just continuously play send A, just because we want to keep working on this one here. Otherwise, we just have to wait every 2 bars in order to get there. So if I play this, so you can hear that beat repeat is now repeating it over and over. Every bar, it's grabbing the kick drum and it's repeating it. So what we can do is we can change the gate. We'll change it to, if we do the whole thing, it's just going to play. Ooh, if we set it to 1 bar, it's just going to play a kick drum for 1 bar at an interval of 16th notes. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this on to insert, which means when it is actually repeating, it is only playing the repeated sound. It's not mixing it with the original. So you can still hear the hi-hats and stuff when I have it on mix and the snare. Let's set it onto insert. Now if we bring the interval down to say quarter of a bar, we're going to get some more interesting patterns because it's repeating for 1 bar, it's just playing a kick drum. So if I bring that interval down to a quarter, that's very good. And now if we move the grid around, you can start getting really crazy sound, crazy fast repeats. Very cool. So I'm just gonna stick with that for now. It's very simple. Now, as before, we're going to use a dummy clip here. So I'm going to just copy this dummy clip over onto the FX1, and I am going to... Actually, no, I'm not going to copy that because it's already got parameters associated with it. Let's just stop the clip playing and we'll just record a new one on this track. So again, 1 bar, 3, 4. There's a new clip. We'll just call this... We'll call this one clean. Okay, and so now we have a new dummy clip. We're going to use these dummy clips to automate the grid of the beat repeat. So now we're going to get a bit of randomness in there. So if I open up this clean, let's have a look. So let's simply assign this one to the beat repeat off and on, assuming we can. So off on, go down to clean, beat repeat. No, we can't set it off and on. Oh, well, what we'll do is we will. What's the best way to do this? Oh, well, we won't use this as a clean one for now. We'll just call this 1, and we'll use this. Oh no, we'll call it 16th. So 1/16. So when this plays, we want to change the grid of the beat repeat. So we're on 0. What happens when we move it up? So 0. Okay, so because this is at its top value, it should, when we trigger this clip, play the 16th note. We have to play the drum as well. Now if we move this down, copy this clip down, let's change it down by 1 value here. Let's see what happens when we play that one. So you can see that's moved down 1 notch to 1/24. So let's call this 1/24. And again, I'm just going to repeat this process down a bit more, bring it down 1 more, which I assume will be a 32nd. I'm hoping 32nd. And so very cool. I'm just looking at what the actual values are: 24, 32nd, 48, 64. Okay, so let's change this one to 1/48. Bring it down a notch again, and we'll go 1 more. 64th is a pretty crazy fast repeating pattern, but we like crazy things around here. Bring that down. So let's have a listen. So you can see what's happened here. Now we can do follow actions. Again, let's make these ones really short. Let's make them 2 beats, like real fast, 2 16th notes. Let's make it, let's pick other. Now, any and other are the random kind of modes. If you pick any, it'll just randomly pick any one of the clips in the group. If you pick other, it'll pick a random clip. However, it won't pick itself again. So if I choose other, so every 2 little 16th notes, it's going to pick a new one. It's going to be pretty crazy, but let's play it. Cool, we're getting somewhere. So you can kind of see where I'm getting with this. So now this FX1 is dedicated to doing this kind of little fill thing at random intervals. I'm gonna even let's change this. Let's change this to 1 and see what happens. It's a little bit too intense. We'll put it back to 2. Very cool. So that's the first FX, and I'm gonna put 3 more different kind of effects chains in here. We'll decide something in a second. Be back in 2 seconds. Alrighty, so for this FX2, let's just have a look through our audio effects here. What can we do that can change it? We might do something to do with the pitch. I think, let's have a look, what do we got? We'll go the frequency shifter. Now that I'm just going to drag this down into the, double click it, bring it in. Now the frequency shifter will simply change the pitch of the audio that's being fed into it by using this frequency knob here. So I'm just going to bring these 2 down again so we can just send it to send B. So now we've got, now we're sending it to send B again, it's routing it to FX2, and now we can play with this. So if I move this around, So I quite like the lower values. So again, I'm going to stop this clip. We're going to record ourselves a dummy clip of 1 bar. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. And we'll call this one... Oh, I'm just going to label these 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. So I want to change this frequency. So let's just leave 1 as... there's the frequency course. Go over to the envelopes mode so we can see the line. I'm just going to leave it at 0%. It's a bit tricky. Yep, fiddly. I held down the control key then to you can move in much finer increments. So if I move up and down, you see it's quite big increments. If I hold down the control key, I can bring it down very fine and find 0 again. Cool. So when this one plays, I might as well call this one clean. Clean. So when this one plays, nothing. We have to play the loop again. Very cool. Now I'm going to copy this down here. We'll just call this 1. And I'm going to open this up and let's just bring this down a little bit. So, very cool. So you can hear now when I'm playing that, that's frequency shifting it a bit. Here's clean. And here it is down a wee bit. Let's copy this down. I'm just going to make a bunch of these real quick. Call this 2. And we'll bring it down a bit further. And we'll do it again. Rename it 3. Thank you for bearing with me. I know there's a bit of sitting and waiting there for this one, but we're learning together. 4, 5. I'm going to do 8 of these. And 6. And 7. And I'm just going to hide the sends here because they're getting in the way. And we'll make this one 8. So now I've got 8 different little pitch shifters. So what we can do is we can assign follow actions to these. Again, let's make them really short and we'll just go other again. So let's have a listen to this. That's quite cool. Now we don't. Okay, so we've got one cluster here, which will do a nice little rhythmical thing, but we don't actually have to just have static points in that frequency. So I'm just going to copy this 1 down, and we're going to start a new one here. Let's have this one go down. Let's see. Let's take 1 bar to go down. Let's see what happens. Okay, I've got a follow action set really short here, so we'll bring that back up to 1 bar. 1 bar. So you can see if we go over here, you can actually watch the sweeping down. It's quite neat. Let's copy that again. Call that 2. We'll make 4 of these ones. So let's just have this one going down and then up, like so. Very cool. Let's do one more. Plus 1, 3. Let's get a little bit creative. Just gonna. You can do select all and delete to get rid of it. Let's go maybe down like that, and yeah, I can just select that, Command or Control D to duplicate it and see what that does. Let's make this one real crazy. We'll go up. Might sound a bit bad, but I don't know, who cares. I'm just going to turn these follow actions off because they're annoying me. No action. I like that. And let's do one more. So Command Alt delete. Let's do some. Let's go into the pen mode, which is Command or Control B. And let's maybe let's just draw some points in like this. See what happens. So the snare's here. So we'll have that going up. And what about if we'll select that, we can drag this down, double click this thing so it goes up. I like that. That's really good. I'm going to rename this, we'll call these A and B, C, and D. So what we could do here is if we put these together, we'll set the follow actions of these to 1 bar, we'll go other again. So these ones are going to go nuts, these ones are going to wait for 1 bar. So let's see what happens. Very cool. Starting to get somewhere good. I'm going to take a little intermission here. I want something else, so I'm just going to create a new MIDI track. We'll call this bass. I just want to fucking put in something to accompany that drum beat. So we'll play this. Just load in an operator. I know it's a bit of a tangent, but it's nice to have some kind of bass sound going. Let's just make a big, long note. Like so. I'm just going to put a compressor on it. I'm going to sidechain it from the drum beat, and let's put... I'm going to turn the EQ on the sidechain, so it's only taking the subs. I'm turning that into a high-pass filter. So if I bring this down, we just want the kick drum to come through. So if we turn on this little headphone, we can hear. So we just want that kick drum there. And that means if I bring the threshold down, I have to turn the headphones off, Tom. So that just ducks out of the way. Let's make this something gritty. Saw wave. Let's bring the course down. Put on a filter. Turn on the LFO. Take it off. We're just turning on an LFO to wobble this frequency up and down. So send the LFO to the filter. And we'll put that on sync. Mount up. Now, just like with the other clips, we can actually, I want to automate this rate here, just so we've got a bit of a wobbly thing. So we'll go into the pen tool, and we'll go like this. And just give it a bit of frequency modulation. And let's just spread it so it's nice and wide. Very cool. Just going to go back into the notes. Length 2, 3, 4. Let's make it 4 bars long. Go like that. And of course we need to go back into the modulation here, the envelopes, the LFO sync rate, and we'll just duplicate that across. Actually, I'm going to work on this just a tiny bit more. I hope you don't mind. I'm going to group it into a track. I'm just going to call this high. Let's chuck a EQ over it. I just want to get a real good sub going on. Let's chuck it in there. Change this into a high pass filter. So we've got no highs. Now we can chuck in another operator into this rack. We'll just call this sub. Awesome, so we got that going. I'm just going to play that on and off as we continue through. So we've got sorry about that. We've got our FX1, FX2, FX3. What are we going to do with that? I'm just going to bring this down again so we can play the C. And we don't have any audio. It's interesting. Oh, we do. I was just thinking about the bass line there. Okay, FX3, what can we put on that? Let's do grain delay, real fun. It's a delay unit which you can change all the delays, times, and make them all crazy. I'm going to bring the dry wet down to 50%. So you see at the moment it's just delaying it by 2/16 notes, and we've got 0% feedback, so we're just getting one delay. Change this to 1. We bring the feedback up, it'll give us lots of delays. That's quite cool, I like that. Let's put in another dummy clip and start mucking with these parameters. So I'm going to stop that, again, record one blank dummy clip, do it up the top here. I'm going to make this 2 bars. So there's a dummy clip, we'll call this clean, and I'm simply for this one, I'm going to automate, we'll do the dry wet value. Dry wet of course means if it's dry then it's just going to play the signal with no effects. If it's wet it's going to play it with effects. So if we set that dry wet value here, grain delay, let's find it, dry wet. Okay, so this is at 100%. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to turn this up to 100% so that when we move this line down to 0% and play the drum beat. Go back over here. So you can see it's playing 0%. If we were to copy this down, call this 1, and we'll bring this up to 100. I'll bring it up to 50%. Play this one. I'm going to leave that one as it is. I kind of like that delay. Let's move it down a bit further. We'll call this one 2. Let's change something weird in this one. What can we change? Let's change the pitch value here, which means each time it delays, it's going to change the pitch somewhat. So if I click on this value, what I have to do is I actually have to make sure that this 1 has the pitch value locked in at 0. So I need to double click that there. I just need to make sure that when I play that one it goes back to 0. Otherwise it'll kind of carry on from the last clip and remember what it used to play, which would be a pain. So if we open up this 2, let's change the pitch up to 1, see what that sounds like. Not bad. What we can also do is, there's a bit too much feedback, so let's go into the feedback. Let's bring this down. Remember this is relative to what it's already set at, so it's going to be roughly 50% of 64%. Very cool. Let's do one more. We'll rename this to 3. What can we do here? Let's bring the feedback back up. Let's try the pitch again. Let's bring it down 1. Cool, and we'll do one more here. 4. So I mean, it's you can go through and add all your own effects here. Like I'm just kind of doing it as I go and playing around with the various instruments. Let's bring the pitch down. We'll make it go up 2 semitones. Let's play with the spray. Let's see what that does. Now, because I'm going to muck with the spray here, remember we have to go back into all these clips before and just make sure we double click a thing, double click a point. Now I think if I go in here, the spray is set to 0. So if I bring that up to its maximum value and then bring these down to their minimum value, that means they're just going to go. That means they're just going to play 0%, which is the original default, which we already have. So let's just make sure that works. I'm just going to change the global quantization to an 8th note, just so I don't have to wait when I click these. So now if we go into this one, the spray's at 100, it's going to be crazy. Whoa, let's bring that down a bit. That's pretty cool. So let's put some follow actions on these. Let's say half a bar. Other. to try something different here. I'm going to turn off the sync of the delay, instead just have a time value. I like that. So now this time value means the delay is actually, we can muck with this and make the delay however long we want in milliseconds. Let's make it a bit longer. That's cool. I'm going to roll with that. Now, FX4, what can we do here? What can we do here? Let's do something real strange. Let's use the vocoder. Let's see what happens when I use the vocoder. So, I'm not going to use the vocoder in a traditional sense. I'm not going to have an external carrier coming in. I'm just going to use it. There's a really good mode on this called pitch tracking mode. So it'll kind of try to analyze the pitch of the audio that's coming into it, and then it'll play a waveform, which is one of these four, and mix it with the original sound. And it might sound good with drums. I don't know. Let's have a listen. Send D. Okay. It's kind of cool. I'm gonna, because it's really quiet, I'm gonna put a limiter on it, just bring the gain up. I'm just taking out some of the bands here in the lower frequencies because we had that kind of subby thing going on. There we go. So I just mucked around there with all these parameters. I've done a couple of videos on vocoders if you want to get into them. Really, really good instrument for just really changing things. So I've just mucked around with a few things there. Oh, do you know what would be interesting is if we put a frequency shifter before that, that would change the actual frequency, so that when the vocoder picks up on the frequency, it would change. Okay, let's try this. Maybe if we turn the LFO on. Pretty interesting. If I put the LFO onto sync mode, and let's just make it maybe quarter of a bar. And let's change the wave shape of the LFO to a saw up. Maybe change it to half a bar. It's quite interesting. Okay, so now we've got enough to play with. We can start putting in some dummy clips again. So let's hit record. Stop the drum loop. I'll do one bar. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. I need to set my global quantization back to 1 bar again if I want to record a perfect bar. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. We'll call this. We'll just call this 1. So let's play that one. Go over to the drum beat. So we want to muck around with that format. I like that. So we've already got it here. Vocoder format. I'll just lock this in place for that one. Just at 0%. And let's create a new one. Let's move this around a bit, see what happens. Go into the pencil tool, just pluck it around, finding interesting spots. What else was fun to play with in this? Maybe the depth. Okay, let's leave the depth at 100%. Remember, if you go into this one, lock in a point. See, this one's relative, it goes up to 50 and down to negative 50. That's because the default value of that depth is actually 100%. I think it goes up to 200%. Yes, it does. I'm just going to hit delete, which will bring it back to its original. So we can change, now we can Well, we'll set the depth there. Now we can change the depth here, and this will kind of, I think, well, it sounds like it's kind of shortening the sound. So what if we bring this up to up here? Make that snare. Let's go back into the format and change that again over here. Cool, that's kind of fun. Create another one, make sure we rename this to 2. Rename this to 3. Hope you're bearing with me here. I'm having lots of fun. I hope you're getting something out of this. The format, let's bring it up. Play this 3. Actually, I'm going to delete all this. Let's do some interesting steps. So let's go 1, 2. I'm just going to Control Command 2 to make the grid a bit bigger. It's pretty cool. Play with the depth a little bit for this one as well. We'll do one more. Let's put the depth all the way up, see what happens. And we'll delete all of these. Get to this mode. Let's bring it down. Maybe if we have this constantly going up in a kind of an envelope type thing. Oops. I reckon what would sound good here, after all of this stuff, first thing I'm going to do is chuck an EQ8 on it. Because you can hear, because we're doing lots of playing around with pitch and all that kind of stuff, we're getting some low kind of stuff which isn't going to be too cool. So let's just turn this into a high pass and get rid of that low. And I'm going to put a reverb after it. Just simple reverb. Bring the dry wet down a bit, so it's not going to have too much reverb. And let's bring the size down really small and the decay time really small. It's going to sound very very small and enclosed. Cool. Now let's do some follow actions on these guys. Open up the track view. Oh, clip view, sorry. Follow action, 1 bar, other. Okay, now let's just have a bit of a play with all of these to see how it goes. So we've got cool. Now what we can do with the sends is we can start making some kind of pattern. So what can we do here? Okay, I'm going to copy the master clip. I'm going to start a new pattern down here. I'm going to play the master clip. Let's make it so that after just after 1.5 bars. Oh no, yep, 1.5 bars. We'll copy A down. Bear with me a sec. I'm just going to set this up. B down, C down, and D down. Right, so what we can do now is on this master, follow bar, after 1.5 bars, pick other. So after 1.5 bars, pick one of these, and these ones, the follow action is going to be after half a bar, go back to the first one, which is the master. So let's watch what happens. That's really, really cool. I'm happy with how this is going. So that's getting in. That's half of it. Let's change these around. Let's make another group. We'll bring these down. I'm just going to hold down Alt and bring them down. Oh, I think I need to create a new scene, just so we've got enough space. Let's make this one a lot faster. Let's say play for 3 beats of the bar, and these ones play for 1 beat of the bar. So this, I'm really liking how this is going. So yeah, so this one's kind of random. Well, we can have these. Oh, they've got an element of randomness, and these ones are all kind of flicking along. So we've really, because we've got kind of 2 layers. It's kind of, well, squared the number of possible glitches that could happen. Let's try something else. Let's send the bass to those things and see what happens. I don't think this is going to sound very good, but I'm going to send the bass to route, and we'll just put the drums to the master. Okay, let's create some. Why are they not letting me create any scenes? Is it scene? Let's create some more scenes. Control I. 2, 3, 4. One more. Let's do another set. This is kind of for the bass now. And let's put all of these on 2 bars and knee. Instant glitch machine. This is awesome. Okay, let's create another one. Let's call this oh no, we'll call this loop. Find a drum loop and chuck it in, just to get another kind of drum loop. We've got here, we've got any drum loops in here, percussion loop, various. That sounds good. Not exactly perfect, so let's go into good old Vengeance. Do they have any loops? Vengeance packs, get them. I've got the best. Here we go. That's a good one. So I'm going to drag that in. It should be warped correctly. Yes, it is. So I'm going to send the bass back to the master. And let's send the loop to the routing. We'll go back to that first set of these sends follow actions. Maybe this one. Let's change this loop a little bit. I'm just going to pitch it up heaps so it's just crazy. Let's try picking the warp point and doubling it. Just having fun now. Hope you're staying with me here. That vocoder is a little bit out of pitch, so I'm going to bring the pitch down. Let's just send it to D. There we go. I managed to nail it then, just with the pitch. It was up here. Excellent. Let's go back to these ones. I like these ones. Send those chords with a delay to the routing as well, is for fun. Cool! I'm really happy with how this worked out. I'm going to stop it here, but I can definitely see a part 2 to this one. I could make this a lot more complicated, and I'm going to! This is the great thing, and see, I can. The ultimate goal is to have this set up in my live set, so when I'm kind of lost for ideas and I don't really know what to do, I can just send anything from my live set to that routing track, and we will have super instant glitchy shit. Yeah! Glitch is the best. Cool. Thanks for watching. I hope you got something out of this. This project file as it is right now, I'll colour it up a bit and structure it. I'm going to upload this to the Pro Members section, so any Pro Members who want to actually download this and play for it straight away, you can go and do that. If you're not sure what Pro Membership is, it's a subscription-based kind of thing on my site. I do all my videos for free mostly, but this is a way of people who want to support me. $10 a month, very cheap. I'm not going to sell it to you, but I hope you got something out of this video. Yeah, I had heaps of fun. TomCosm.com, thanks for watching.